Abiku, spirits never return. Never speak of them. Not so long ago, government officials arrived with promises. They wore polished shoes and declared they would construct a modern road to transform our lives. They brought bulldozers and blueprints, planning to clear and expand the cursed Abiku road so vehicles could pass and travelers could move swiftly. The village elders issued 10 warnings, but these men simply laughed. No spirit exists here, only trees, they scoffed. But the women knew the truth. For generations, no pregnant woman dared set foot on that path. They took the long way, even if it meant hours of walking. Now with the new road, they had no choice. Old warnings faded from memory. At first, only one woman suffered. Shade, young and always smiling, gave birth to a beautiful daughter. For a while, her home was filled with laughter and song. But after a few months, the baby fell ill and died. The midwives were helpless. Shade's eyes turned empty. A smile vanished forever. Then it happened to another mother, and another. Soon, every pregnant woman who used the road lost a child after birth. Some within months, others after a year. The village was filled with mourning. One woman's pain was the deepest. Titi had already buried 3 children. Each time a child would arrive, stay a while, then leave her. Her husband tried to comfort her, but the pain was too much. After the 3rd loss, her in-laws turned against her. They insulted her, calling her a witch who ate her own babies. They cursed her in public, spat at her feet, and said she brought bad luck to their family. Her mother-in-law even threatened to send her away. "You have brought nothing but sorrow to this house," she shouted. Her husband tried to defend her, but his family's angry voices were louder. Titi felt deep shame. She could not walk through the village without people talking bad about her. Children pointed at her and ran away. Women crossed to the other side of the road when they saw her coming. Even the market women, who once greeted her with smiles, now looked away. With desperation, Titi went to see a ritual doctor, a man known for his wisdom and power. She knelt before him, tears running down her face, and begged for help. The old man looked at her and said, "Be patient, my daughter. Your time will come. Those children you lost were never truly yours. Your own child will come someday, and when it does, you will stay." But patience was hard. Every day, Bosse, a neighbor, would post about her 5 strong sons. She would laugh loudly so that Titi could hear. "Some women are blessed," she said, "while others, well, the God knows best." Sometimes, Bosse would rub salt in Mama Titi's wounds, saying, "If you need advice on how to keep a child alive, you know where to find me." One day, something happened between Titi and one of Bosse's sons. Titi was returning from the stream when she heard a soft cry beside the road. It was Bosse's first son, Tunde. He was sitting in the dust. His knee was bleeding and tears covered his face. He fell down while riding his bicycle. Titi's heart ached at the sight. She knelt beside him, wiped his tears and gently lifted him into her arms. She carried him to her house, cleaned his wound with warm water and gave him a piece of bread to eat. But a neighbor saw Tunde in Mama Titi's house and quickly ran to tell Bosse. "Your son is with that evil woman," she whispered, "the one who brings death to children." Bosse came running. Her face was full of fear and anger. She ran into Titi's house, snatched Tunde from her hands and screamed, "You want to eat my son too? Don't you ever touch my child again." She dragged the boy away, leaving Titi on the floor, her hands empty and shaking. From that day, Bosse's insults grew sharper. She would say, "Keep your bad luck to yourself, Titi. Don't bring it near my children." The village women laughed with her. The pain and humiliation became too much for Titi. She felt alone, abandoned by everyone. One night, Titi sat by the fire. Her eyes were red from crying. The wind outside howled. She heard a soft knock at her door. When she opened it, she saw 3 old women dressed in white. Their faces were hidden in shadow. "We are the midwives," they said. "We know your pain. We can help you." Titi was afraid, but she let them in. They sat around her, speaking with low and soft voices. "The Abiku have taken your children," they said, "but there is a way to bring one back. You must travel to the spirit world. You must find your child and bring him home." Titi's heart began to race. "How?" she asked. The oldest midwife leaned close. Her breath was cold on Titi's cheek. "You must go to Abiku Road at midnight. You must listen for the whispers. When you hear your child's voice, follow it. But beware, the Abiku will not let you take your child without a price. They will ask for something in return." Titi's hands shook. What do they want? The midwives looked at each other. "They will ask for another child. You must decide what you are willing to give." That night, Titi could not sleep. She thought of her lost children, their tiny hands, their soft cries, the little birthmark on her last son's shoulder, a mark that shaped like a half moon. She thought of the empty space in her heart. She thought of the other women and she knew what she had to do. At midnight, she wrapped herself in her cloth and walked to Abiku Road. The moon was full, but the path was dark. The trees stood tall and silent, their branches reaching out like fingers. The air was cold, colder than she had ever felt. In the night. "You cannot take him," they said. "You must give us another child in exchange." Titi fell to her knees. "Please," she begged, "take me instead. Let my child live." The Abiku laughed with a sound like breaking glass. "You are too old. We want a child. Give us one and you can have yours." Titi thought of the other women in the village. She thought of their pain, their empty arms. She could not do it. She could not trade another woman's child for her own. But then she remembered her neighbor, Bose. Bose had never lost a child. She had 5 strong sons, all healthy and loud. She was always boasting, always laughing at Titi's pain. A dark thought crept into Titi's mind. If she gave the Abiku one of Bose's sons, she could have her own child back. No one would know. The Abiku would be satisfied. The children watched her, their eyes shining. Decide, they whispered. Time is running out. Titi's heart was full of sorrow. She held her son's hands and looked at him with love. She looked at the other children. Their faces were sad. She stood up. I cannot do it, she said. I cannot trade another mother's child for mine. Take me or let me go. Abiku became angry. The wind howled and trees started to shake and even the ground trembled. Then you will live with nothing, they said. Titi closed her eyes. She felt her son's hand slip from hers. The cold entered her body and she fell to the ground, shaking. When she opened her eyes, she was lying on the floor weak and tired. Her head was heavy. The sun was rising, but the forest was quiet. She dragged herself home with a broken heart. She thought she had failed. She thought her child was lost forever. As she sat in her house, she heard the whispers again. This time, they were inside her head. They would not let her rest. They called her name over and over. That night, she went back to Abiku Road. She begged the spirit for another chance, but the Abiku only laughed. You know what we want, they said. Bring us a child and you can have yours. Titi went home, broken. But the whispers followed her everywhere. She could not eat. She could not sleep. She saw her lost child's face in every shadow. After many months of sorrow, something happened. Titi's belly grew again. People feared that the Abiku would come once again, but when the time came, Titi gave birth and the child lived. He looked exactly like the last son she lost. He had the same curly hair and half-moon birthmark. When the women heard the cry of her baby, they came running. When they saw the child, they started to dance and sing with happiness. It is a miracle. The gods have answered our prayers. The news spread through the village like fire. But not everyone was happy. Some women stood at the door, watching with sharp eyes. They whispered to each other. How did this happen? How did our child come back when Abiku refused her? Bose was one of them. She looked at Titi, then at the baby. She frowned, but said nothing. That night, when the village was quiet, Titi could not sleep. She sat by the fire holding the baby. She remembered Abiku's words. You will live with nothing. She remembered the words and the angry faces of the spirit children. She looked at the baby in her arms. Was this really her son? Or was it a trick? Was it a gift or was it a curse? The next morning, Bose woke up to find her son shaking and gasping for air. She screamed and called the neighbors for help. The villagers ran and gave him all the medicines they knew. But nothing worked. A few moments later, Akin gave his last breath and died. She cried and even tore her wrapper, rolling on the ground like a mad woman. The next morning, Bose ran to Titi's house like a possessed animal. She did not tie her wrapper or fix her scarf. She went barefoot, shouting at the top of her voice, "You this woman! So it is true. You are finally eating my child through witchcraft. God will punish you." The villagers gathered quickly. Some tried to hold her, but Bose pushed them away. She pointed at Titi, trembling with rage. "Everybody, open your eyes and see her. My son was sleeping fine last night, and the next morning he was dead. Who else? Who else if not this witch? Titi, you will not go free. The gods will judge you today." Titi's heart jumped. She held the baby tighter. "I do not know," she said, her voice shaking. Bose looked at her for a long time. Then she turned and left. Days passed. The village was not the same. Some people were happy for Titi. They said, "She has suffered enough. Let her have a child." Others whispered, "Something is not right. Their people do not give back what they have taken." At night, the whispers on Abiku Road grew louder. Some people said they saw small shadows moving among the trees. Some said they heard children laughing, then crying, then laughing again. Titi tried to live as before. She cared for the baby, fed him, bathed him, sang for him. But sometimes, when she looked into his eyes, she saw something strange. The baby would stare at her without blinking, as if he was seeing beyond this world. Sometimes at night, the baby would cry, and nothing would calm him. Sometimes they would laugh for no reason, a cold, sharp laugh that made Titi's skin crawl. Bose was desperate. She went to a ritual doctor. The old man was known for seeing the unseen and speaking with the spirit. "My son is dead," she said with a trembling voice. "Tell me who did this." "Sit down, child," he said. "Do not rush the spirits. Listen carefully." The old man looked into his cowrie shells, then into Bose's eyes. "Your son was taken by the spirit of the Abiku. The Abiku asked for a child, and an exchange was made. It was Titi who asked the Abiku to give her child back. In return, your son was claimed." Bose ran through the village with anger, shouting, "Titi! Titi has killed my son!" The people gathered, their faces dark with suspicion. In the center of the village, Bose confronted Titi. Her voice shook with rage. "Confess! Tell them what you did! You killed my child to replace the one that Abiku took from you." The crowd gathered, demanding the truth. Titi fell to her knees, holding the baby. Tears streamed down her face. Her voice was barely a whisper, but it carried through the silent crowd. "I am sorry," she wept. "I was desperate. The Abiku would not give me back my child. I took Bose's son's life by rubbing his body with some sacred oil. I only wanted to feel like a mother again. Just once. I am sorry. I am so sorry." The village erupted in anger and sorrow. Some shouted that she should be punished. Others wept for both women, for the pain was heavy. Bose cried out like a mother whose heart had been broken. The elders gathered to decide Titi's fate. The oldest elder, Baba Olumide, stood and raised his staff. His voice was heavy with the wisdom of many years. "Titi," he said, "you have broken the sacred trust of this village. You let your pain turn to darkness, and in your desperation, you took what was not yours. For this, you cannot remain among us. You must return the baby which the Abiku gave to you. Once you do that, you will leave this place and never return." But Bose shouted again, "No! Banishment is not enough. She killed my son. She should die too. Let her feel the pain she gave me. Let her blood pay for my child." The elders looked at one another, their faces troubled. Baba Olumide raised his hand for silence. "Bose," he said, "your pain is great, and your anger is deep, and killing her would not bring your son back. But you, too, have a part in this sorrow. Your words were like poison. You mocked Titi and you shamed her. You made her suffering greater. If you had shown kindness, perhaps none of this would have happened." Bose's mouth fell open in shock. "But I did nothing. She's the one who exchanged my child." The elders shook their heads. "You are not blameless, Bose. The spirits see all. The Abiku feed on pain and bitterness. You gave them a feast." Before dawn, the village gathered to watch as Titi went into the forest with her head bowed. She looked back once at the village. The faces of the women, some were pitying her and some were cold, the burning eyes of Bose. Then she turned and walked into the forest and never returned. And from that day, the road was abandoned. Grass grew over it, and no one dared to walk there. The villagers chose the long path once more. Bose never saw her son again. She carried her grief like a stone in her chest. And though she still walked among the people, she never boasted, never mocked, never laughed as before. As for Titi, no one knew her fate. Some say she vanished into the forest and joined the spirit herself. Some say the Abiku took her, binding her soul to the shadows forever. And some say on certain nights when the wind is cold and the moon is full, a woman's voice can be heard singing lullabies deep within Abiku Road. Moral lesson: when people are suffering, do not laugh at them or make their pain worse. Show kindness, because you do not know what they are going through. If you treat others badly, can bring trouble to everyone. And remember, when you are hurt, do not let your pain make you do wrong things. We must help each other, not hurt each other. The Titi truly deserve our fate? Share your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one and I can't wait to hear your take on this timeless lesson. Craving more magical African folktales? Dive into the next adventure by subscribing and tapping the bell. Don't let the next tweet slip past you. Your journey with the warriors is just beginning. Which legend of virtue should we animate next? Drop your ideas below. Your voice shapes our tales and keeps Africa's wisdom alive for generations to come. Ready to unlock more ancient secrets? Hit subscribe and join the tribe.